Your Majesty, over to you.
The elderly man pretending to be president has dementia. Everyone knows it. It's getting worse and worse. It's bubbling finally into the mainstream. And here, we showed this earlier in the week, but here he is with the King of Jordan. And tell me if this gives you great confidence in the office of the presidency.
Your Majesty, over to you.
Mr. President.
Josh, there were an awful lot of flubs and misdirections and the rest of it that we could have played this week. Something about that one, the stiffness of the hands, walking the wrong way, being confused. He clearly looks at a direction on the floor, then leaves it, go to the other place, then leaves that. Like, what is going on here? How much more do you think this can hold, honestly? Like, the mainstream cannot run cover for this much longer. Or can they? Are they just that good?
You know, here's the problem, Dave. I mean, here's the catch-22. So my reading of what's happened the past 2 years, I think Democrats started to freak out as early as late 2021, early 2022, when it came to Joe Biden's physical and mental health. And as early as the summer of 2022, you start to see some venerable progressive commentators, Michelle Goldberg of the New York Times, columnists, David Ignatius of the Washington Post, Politico, CNN. They all started for a few months there to start to sound the alarm. David Ignatius of the Washington Post actually went as far as to say, for the good of the Democratic Party, for the good of the country, Joe Biden should actually not run for re-election. Here's the problem. The problem is that Joe Biden got to Washington, D.C. literally over a half century ago, and he's wanted to be president of the United States his entire adult life. He literally first ran for president in 1988, the year before I was born. So good luck trying to get this man to step aside at this point and not run for re-election. So, you know, unless they can do the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, unless Hillary Clinton perhaps has one more trick up her sleeve and can make Joe Biden mysteriously fall down a flight of stairs, I think that they're stuck with him. They really are. So they're going to try to run cover, but the American people can see it for themselves. But, you know, more to the point, Dave, not just the American people, you know, what are the people around the world thinking, for goodness sake, especially at a press conference like that, where the King of Jordan comes on stage, and we didn't hear it there in that clip, but says some disgusting things, by the way, about the conflict in Gaza. So the whole kind of combination of the optics of this senile man who clearly has no idea what he is doing, fumbling around, combined with the vicious vitriol being spewed by the King of Jordan there when it comes to the substance of what's happening in Gaza, was just a terrible, terrible look for the country. Full stop, period, end of story.
James, doesn't Biden seem like the perfect avatar for America at this very moment? He doesn't know who he is and where he's from, and it's just all confusing, and yet we're just doing it over and over. Like, it feels like he's an extension of exactly what we've become. Now, there's a little chicken or egg there, but that's what it feels like to me, until we finally choose to move on.
Yeah, well, that's pretty poetic as a way to put it. Maybe it also is that he's going to white knuckle it, like Josh was saying, to the last possible moment, which I honestly think is to our advantage if he white knuckles it to the last possible moment, because the things that have piled up around him and that are so visible are piled up and so visible. What I think is that he's the perfect avatar for what the Democratic Party regime is doing. They're willing to put up a visible puppet. They are willing to, I mean, it looks like he's made the bargain in Faust. I don't know if you know the story, but Faust makes a deal with the devil. Mephistopheles shows up, gives him all the powers. He gets the girl, he gets the stuff. But the trick is, the way that story is written, is that the devil doesn't take your soul when you die. He takes it before you die. So then you walk around as a powerless shell after getting what you think you wanted, and your life stinks until you die. And it feels very much like the Faustian bargain has come true for him. But it's just a show that they want to put up somebody who's feeble, who looks weak, who looks harmless, sleepy Grandpa Joe. They want to put up somebody who looks stupid and like a bubbly teenage valley girl like Kamala Harris as his number two, so that you think, well, they can't be doing something that bad. They're just dumb. They're just incompetent. And I think that I feel I'm much more cynical about this than that. I think they're the perfect avatar of a craven party apparatus that's willing to do whatever it has to do to get power at the expense of the American people.